Hello, hello. Now, on this channel, we chat about streaming. We chat about it a lot, but the word streaming can mean a couple different things. At the most basic level, it's consuming content in one place while it lives somewhere else. I'm breaking in a fun new gadget. This is the Steam Deck from Valve, and it brings up a fun philosophical idea on streaming content. Not just music and movies and TV, but gaming. Yeah, moving content around, it's a lot of fun. And no matter where you're watching this or on what device you might be streaming this video, we hope you can keep up with all the work here on Reviews.org. Hit those subscribe options down below. Give us a follow around the socials. We've got a whole team of people making really cool stuff, and hopefully we can save you a little cash along the way. So I've been playing with the Steam Deck. It's such a great piece of hardware, bringing the portability of consoles like the Nintendo Switch to the world of PC gaming. This is more direct and it's faster to use than a gaming laptop for gaming on the go. But unlike the Nintendo Switch, this is also a full PC. A little AMD computer lives inside this shell, and it's quickly becoming a popular platform for the folks who like to tinker. That raw capability shows us a computing future where the hardware, well, that might matter a little less than the software and the network that computer lives on. The Steam Deck doesn't compare in the slightest to my main workstation. I've got a pretty beefy PC under this table, but making the right compromises probably matters more. Packing just enough compute power into something this small. I've played more of my Steam library over this last month than I have on my really nice computer over the last 3 years. On top of that though, the Steam Deck represents a freedom which is kind of refreshing in this age of walled garden ecosystems. Increasingly, that word ecosystem is starting to sound a lot like consumer lock-in, and there's almost none of that here. Do I play through my Steam library? Yeah. Can I play games acquired through the Epic Game Store? Also, yeah. I'm not tied down to one app store. I'm not even tied down to games installed locally on the Steam Deck storage. It's another step for gaming in the same direction that we already take for granted with movies, music, books, and TV. At a basic level, the Steam Deck is a solid portal to games streamed locally on my home network. So if I want to play a game that requires beefier specs and I don't want to take as much of a hit on the quality or the frame rate, I can drive the game from this big workstation and send it over my home network to the little screen on my Steam Deck. This is really basic stuff. It's been around for years. This is just a new container for that feature. Recently though, the viability of game streaming has improved. Now obviously, your network, broadband connection, those are critical. And the early attempts from Stadia might not have been as successful as Google would have hoped, but Nvidia and Microsoft see a future in this market. And streaming is becoming that other solution, moving a game library to anywhere you have the good data. It's definitely not ready to completely replace the console or the PC market, but it's turning into a great add-on. It's a perk for services like Microsoft GamePass. Using those solutions on a Steam Deck is still kinda techie. It's not seamless, but being able to boot this deck into a proper Linux desktop means we can install kinda any software we might want to use. Video players, photo and document editing software, alternative web browsers. So if a company is hosting and processing the game data on a server, it matters a little less what you play that game on. A low power laptop, a phone, or a portable console. Switching over to Linux and firing up a browser isn't much different than game streaming on any other solution, any other PC or phone or tablet. For the Steam Deck specifically, the support seems to be best on Chrome and on Microsoft Edge. That bums me out a little as a Firefox fan, as Firefox is also the built-in browser that just comes pre-installed. And depending on the game, there could still be some support issues with all the controls on the Steam Deck. But just from a data perspective, this is a computer with a browser, so that stream is pretty much taken care of. The trickier part is moving a game streaming service to the main interface on the Steam Deck, the easiest way to get around. Just right here, using GamePass as an example, Microsoft has a nicely laid out guide on setting it all up. It's not hard, but there are a few steps to follow, from installing the Edge browser, then adding Edge to a list of programs that the gaming interface is able to launch, and then setting up some specific launch options to make sure the game is properly formatted and scaled for the Steam Deck display. A little bit of legwork up front, but when it's all set up, it works. It works really well. I don't use NVIDIA GeForce now, but the setup is kind of similar. Just a few extra steps just to make sure all of the controls are recognized through the GeForce interface. And that's the holding pattern we're currently in with this product specifically. We'll have to see if there's a more direct setup option offered in the future. When we look at Valve and we look at Steam, it's a place to buy games and interact with your friends. We'll have to see how much Steam wants to embrace the greater library of PC-grade software, all of the other services which end up being direct competitors to Steam's game library. Right now, it's kind of a tinkery solution. Valve is not getting in your way if you want to install another game store on your Steam Deck, but they're also not facilitating that relationship through the easiest interface to use. That said, the Steam Deck is the tip of the spear, a gaming-specific product representing a more open platform and capable of more than just gaming on Steam. That's why I feel this conversation about the philosophy of a product like this is so important. We see a lot of barriers between different categories of products, and something like this shows us how we might be able to chip away at some of those barriers. Hopefully those barriers start falling down a little faster. A lot of marketing goes into that consumer presentation. The idea of phone use or tablet use or computer use are mostly artificial constraints. If something has a processor inside of it, that means it can process information. How we interact with that processed information is often just a collection of small accessory trappings like a keyboard and mouse versus dual analog sticks. Outside of the conversation on one specific consumer electronics product, we can also look at the overall trends in the media landscape. The move to streaming was so exciting back in the early days of Netflix and Hulu. And now we take that streaming infrastructure for granted. Gaming is definitely a more difficult challenge, moving the interactive experiences to remote servers, but it's already proving to be a solid solution. And what really lights me up as an old tech geek, we didn't have to wait for an NVIDIA portable console to use GeForce Now. We didn't have to wait for an Xbox portable to use Game Pass. We started out with desktops and laptops, we've started moving to phones and tablets, and now we've got some purpose-built solutions just for that gaming too. Oh, and if you really want to watch HBO Max or Disney Plus or Netflix or Hulu, a Steam Deck can do that really well too. I mean, even just from the audio perspective, the speakers are great and the headphone jack is baller for plugging in some nice cans. As the lines between gaming and computing get a little fuzzier on all of these different compute platforms, what do you think the next evolution of gaming will look like? Not just for the hardware of a future console, but also for the platforms and services we might use. Steam seems like such a monolithic platform of game purchasing, but the consumer relationship with Steam could totally end up as just another app on a smart TV. So we definitely need to hear from you. Drop us the tastiest of hot takes down below. As always, thanks so much for watching, for sharing these videos, subscribing to the channel. For Reviews.org, I'm Juan Carlos Bagnell, aka Some Gadget Guy, and I will catch you all on the next video.